Welcome, Spartans, to Mission Debrief. We're playing every mission of the mainline Halo video game series in chronological order, discussing our experiences and sprinkling in a little lore along the way. If you'd like to play along and have your thoughts read on the show, email us, podcastevolved@gmail.com, or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. We'll be playing the Covenant mission from Halo 3 on the next episode. This episode, we're debriefing the Ark from Halo 3. I'm your host, Colin Perkins, alongside David Arnold.
Hello, everybody.
And Krista Brown.
You guys ready for some deep lore cuts?
Some real deep cuts.
So deep.
We're getting the deepest. Last mission was Floodgate. Chief and the Arbiter turned their attention to containing the Flood, who threw a wrench in the defense of Earth by crash landing an infected ship just outside the portal at Voy. The plan started with a Halo trope of blowing up a ship's engine reactor to solve the problem until the elite shipmaster Urtas Vadam showed up and he was able to clean up the mess. Chief then locates a message from Cortana inside the infected ship that includes a plan to stop the Flood. The humans in Sangheli must make a fast alliance, and the decision is made to chase after truth through the enormous portal looming over Southeast Africa. This mission, the human Sangheli allied forces arrive at the fabled Ark via the portal at Voy and are immediately met with resistance from the brute-led Covenant fleet. The elite shipmaster confidently commands the counterattack, while Johnson takes Master Chief and the UNSC forces down to the Ark surface to track down truth. The date of the game is December 11th, 2552. We've had 3 weeks in slip space travel. What's Chief been up to, guys? What do you think?
Taking a nap.
Definitely a nap.
Chilling.
And possibly going to the bathroom.
Showering. And just like loading guns constantly. Just like click, 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 click. Like just...
Well, technically, I guess it depends whether the ship has a apparatus to take off his armor. Because if it doesn't, he's stuck in there.
That's true.
No showers for him.
That is true. He's kind of trapped inside the armor. This date, this is a little bit longer than what we've seen in slip space, and we'll kind of cover that at some point. But just a note. Usually it takes about 2 weeks, but this took 3 weeks, so we'll kind of cover that at some point. All right, so let's do this opening cutscene. This thing is amazing. David, do you want to cover this thing? It's great.
Yeah, it's awesome. So you go, pretty much the cruisers appear out of the portal, and they're above a big structure. And you got all the elites, and then straight away they're into kind of combat mode because the brute ships are coming against them. So you get this great line between Ortas. When he's in his ship, and it's like the brute ships outnumber us 2-1, and he goes, excellent, it's an even fight. And it's like, oh yeah, it's so
Was
cool.
it 2-1 or 3-1? I think it's
2-1. I think it's
3-1.
No, I thought it was
3-1.
3-1. All right, it's crazy. It's way more than I thought. It's awesome. So essentially, the ships engage. So you have the super carriers and all the other kind of smaller carriers as well, all controlled by elites, engaging the brute ships and Truth's kind of forces. And at the same time, you have this small team inserting on the ground, including like Forward Unto Dawn. So you have these 4 Pelicans. Well, there's 5 at the start, and then immediately one gets blown up, just in case you weren't paying attention, and it's a Pelican and it needs to blow up.
No, that's nobody gets blown up here. That's Covenant.
Definite. Is there definitely not a Pelican get blown up as soon as it?
No, that's in the next episode.
No.
That's the next mission. Here we're kind of
okay.
like, we're still kind of unknown at this point.
I saw some ships drop down. I'm pretty sure a Pelican got blown up. Maybe it's a Seraph or something like that. But there's a big, awesome space battle kicking off right now. So you have these Pelicans shooting down onto the planet. They're trying to get in as close as they can to truth. So you show these kind of hot insertions of these Pelicans flying down through like a space battle. That's pretty damn cool.
Oh, okay. You're up above. You're before. Okay. Yeah. There are some things that happen before we actually get down to the surface. So okay. Continue.
That's pretty much it. These ships kind of fly down, and through the fight, the structure we're looking at, the Ark, is ginormous. You don't really get a good kind of picture of it here.
Yeah.
But you're landing as close as you can to truth. And
it
you
looks
kind of
very
fly
different
in.
from the Halos. Like, we're used to the Halo,
Yeah.
just the ring. And this thing is like it's got these
Kinda
tendrils.
flower.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
flower.
Pretty much there's like a central structure and this whole kind of what I can describe like a flower. Like the petals have these big arms and they look like halo rings in terms of that they have like habitats on them
Mm-hmm.
and like geography. Clearly kind of Earth-like again. So your ships kind of land down on one of these and then start to engage the troops. It's kind of a cool kind of insertion right off the Pelicans with a bunch of ODSTs and some Marines. It's pretty cool, and the mission kind of just starts there.
And you're dropped in the desert, which is, I don't know, I guess it would been fun to be in some sort of a jungle, but like, you know, they had to pick a setting, right? So we're in the desert.
They did a jungle in Halo 4.
Right, that's true.
We did a jungle in the
We
first
did a
mission.
jungle. Yeah, first mission was a jungle.
That's
They
true.
can't just have only jungles.
That's right. Or they could have had like snow. This could have been a snow area.
There's
but
snow
whatever.
later in the
They
game.
We
chose.
already had snow in the first. God damn it, Colin.
Well, they chose the desert because they haven't been in the desert, so we're doing the desert area now.
It gives them the chance to make all of those cool like crunching sand sound effects when you're
Yes.
walking around.
That's true. So the skybox is pretty fantastic. You can look up and see the Milky Way, right? And I think
It's
one
so
of
cool.
one of the Marines actually comments on it. He's like, "What is that? What I think it is?" And then you can also see the space battle up above. You can kind of see these little explosions going on. So that's Urtas doing his business up there. You are accompanied by Marines and ODSTs. So I love having ODSTs with you. They just look so badass. Do those ODSTs die the same way,
They
or are they just
can.
tougher? They're just tougher
I
in
don't know.
general?
I was actually thinking that. I don't know if the actual character models are like have any more health as opposed to a Marine does. I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah, the opening part of this scene is cool because it does give you a chance to kind of soak everything in, and but then it pretty much immediately then you're kind of sniping around. You get to sneak around and decide, all right, how am I gonna take these guys on? Am I gonna rush in? There's like this big barrier where a bunch of Covenant are dug into, and you can kind of go off to the left, and there's a sniper rifle. Do you start with a sniper rifle? Is that
Yes, you
yeah,
do.
so you start with a sniper rifle, and then you can get more sniper rifle ammo up on that ledge there. Krista, I'm guessing you're sniping everybody here on that ledge?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm doing all of the brutes headshots and then all the grunts with the battle rifle.
Okay.
Also, a note, if you walk around in this level, part of the level, you see little white blocky things on the ground, and if you punch them, you can break them.
Oh, you can. Okay. I
Yeah.
didn't try that. So I guess they're like kind of rocks or something like that.
It's like it looks like quartz or
Mhm.
something.
That's cool. They
Kind of
added
a
that.
milky rock.
It's kind of like breaking crates earlier in the game. Like, yeah, let's break
Yeah.
stuff.
Just something to break if you
Mhm.
want to just go around breaking things.
David, are you
Like me.
sniping here, or do you kind of go around the corner and?
Well, the game gives you a sniper rifle as you start off with and a BR, so yeah, I pretty much wasted all of my sniper ammo. But as per usual, because I suck at it, I normally use it until I get to the last clip, and then I give that sniper rifle to a Marine and take his off. So then
Yep.
immediately they become useful. You take an AR or something off them,
Mhm.
and then I kind of like swap that for various Covenant weapons throughout the mission. This mission's long. There's a lot
Long
of
mission.
opportunity to drop and pick up various different weapons as you go along. So I did try and snipe, but I suck at it.
Yeah, I'm not the best sniper either. It's like I see the red reticle and then I fire and then their head moves. It's like, damn it! It's like I wait just a half a second too long. The brutes and the grunts, they all kind of come up once they realize you're there. They will come and charge you and come up this little side hill too. So it's not like they're all just waiting to be shot at. You have to be pretty efficient as a sniper and prevent them from coming up, or you have to cover your backside as well. But it's a good encounter to kind of just set the tone for you right away. And then there's that watchtower off in the distance. So once you clear this area, there also is a truth hologram in this area. And I just want to read it really quick because I love reading truth holograms, his sermons. He says, "My dreadnought cannot rise. Even now it is engaged. Turns deftly in the wards of this new world. Do not relent until the heretics' ships are smashed." Good old truth. All right, so we clear on, we keep going on, and then it's similar. It's a similar area. You know, there's some actual ammo and whatnot that we can pick up in this next area, but they're putting together an AA gun, which is really cool in this next spot. And you see this giant structure similar to what we saw in it wasn't the flood, it was the storm mission. So the big gun, and then there's a Phantom up above, kind of just hovering. It's got some piece of the AA gun, and it just kind of hovers up above. It's pretty much kind of a similar approach here, right? Like, you want to keep your distance for the most part. And there's like a little jackal up top there that you want to take out as well. And then just a lot of troops on the ground, a lot of grunts and brutes and jackals down below. Anything different at this point that you're doing, David?
Pretty much the exact same as you described. I threw a lot of grenades. There's some great opportunities for enemies bunching up. But like the brutes in this are like, they seem to like love deploying bubble shields. I think as soon as the fight starts, brutes just tend to drop bubble shields all the time. So I try and throw grenades as soon as I can, and then pepper like some of the brutes with sniper shots.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. I got some pretty amazing multi-kills during my course's mission. But then, I was playing on normal. So
yeah, I was going to ask that, if you're still playing on normal. You can run past this entire area, too. Krista, do you ever do that? Do you ever just kind of run through?
No, I usually stay and just murder everything and take the ammo.
Yeah. Couple hunters get dropped off, too, so you got to deal with them. And I think that's at the point for this playthrough on me. I was like, I can either deal with them and waste a bunch of ammo, or I can just run past, because they're very easy to run past. You do get met by some resistance. Kind of, you wrap around and head up a hill, and you're supposed to kind of go through a little cave, and you do get met by some grunts and brutes up top there. So if you do leave too many people, if you are running through this section and you do leave too many people behind you, they might start to come up from behind and cause some issues. But for the most part, these first two little sections are pretty cool. I like the start to this mission. Yeah, and then we move on. We head up through this little cave area, and then so this next part is where we see the crashed pelican, right?
Yes. When you go through this kind of cave formation,
yep.
you then come out on attack the crashed pelican.
Well, before that, you go through a little Forerunner like tech area.
Oh, that's
correct?
Right. Yeah, you do drop down below, don't you?
Yeah, and there's a straight hallway, and then there's a door to the left. If you take that door to the left, there's your first terminal is right through there. It's
like weird eye thing. It's just bizarre. But yeah, so we're going to talk about the terminals again, as we've been covering them throughout the series. So we're just going to cover those at the end, because there are multiple terminals in this mission and the next mission to get. So keep an eye out for those. We'll hint at, or we'll tell you where they are along the way, as long as I don't go too fast and skip by it like I just did. But yeah, so there are 3 in this mission. There's also 2 skulls, so I'll point out the skulls as we're going through this as well. And as always, you can always find all this stuff on YouTube, and that's probably the better way to do it anyway, as a walkthrough. But yeah, so head through that little section there, come out the other end. Oh, there's also some like weird purpley things, which is just good Forerunner decoration on the side. But anyway, we're going through, and now we see that crashed pelican, and there's a bunch of brutes and grunts, and the pelican has all sorts of ammo down there. And David, do you go down there right away, or do you clear the area a little bit and then kind of go get your prize at the end?
Well, what I like doing is one of the rare secret things you can do in this mission. There's a crashed warthog that's destroyed, but the turret is still usable, so you can actually flip it and get in and use the turret. But like, the warthog doesn't drive. It's one of the only occurrences that I can think of that actually has a destroyed warthog with a usable turret. So that's kind of fun. But most of the time I'm running up to the pelican, because there is a rocket launcher there, and there's about to be a few reinforcements, and good. If you're ready, you can get some really good multi-kills coming up.
Yeah, I don't know. So you mentioned the reinforcement. That's the Prowlers. We haven't seen the Prowlers yet. These things are rad. I love Prowlers. So cool. Krista, do you drive Prowlers, Krista? Are you a Prowler person?
I don't usually like vehicles where the driver can't also gun at the same time,
yeah.
but if I'm playing multiplayer, I'll grab one. Other than that, I just explodey them.
Yeah, the turret is pretty good, I feel like. You know, if you're on the turret, I think I did the turret a little bit right away just to kind of see how it went, and then I ended up driving. But the gun on it is pretty powerful. It's just a weird fish-looking thing. I just like the design. And
it's pretty weird, yeah. This is the first time I think, because I'm like Krista, I don't like these vehicles, well, ones that you can't shoot in. But I did with this one just because I never did it. I was like, I'll just do it. So I destroyed one and got in the second one. I gave one guy on the side a rocket launcher and one guy a sniper, and then I had a dude in the turret, and then I just wreck shot, man. I had so much fun.
Well, there's essentially 4 people on this thing, and you can do some business. It's very good. I like it. It's nice to have another brute vehicle, something unique. This section also, you know, if you're listening and you're kind of paying attention to all the dialogue that's going on, there's a really cool section here where you can hear Urtas and Miranda, and then there's like another UNSC person like talking about what's going on in the battle above. So look up the transcript or just sit there and listen to that, because Urtas is just badass, and they're just wrecking shop up there. It's so good. All right, so let's keep going here. We are, I'm in the Prowler at this point, so you kind of jump over this little cliff, and you can't go back after this point, which I thought was a little weird. I think there's a couple sections like that in this mission, but this mission, part of the reason that this mission is so good is like all this vehicle stuff, and it feels like this wide open Halo mission that we haven't necessarily gotten as much so far in Halo 3, but this, it just feels so good, kind of being in this open area and being able to approach these different encounters differently, and once you go over this ledge, now there's more vehicles, and there's some ghosts, and there's some more prowlers, and there's some or they may not be prowlers. I think it's what's the other covenant with the choppers? Yeah, there's some choppers to deal with, but it gives you this big sandbox to kind of just do it however you want. But you also kind of want to clear out everybody, right? Like, I guess this mission, I think it's a long mission, but I was looking at the par time, and I think it's 20 minutes or so, which means that you can just cruise by a bunch of this stuff. But at the same time, it's fun to just clear out everybody. Krista, are you cruising? What are you doing at this point? Or isn't there a warthog too that you can get on, or some mongoose?
There are mongoose, yeah. There are mongoose that you can grab.
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much grabbed a chopper the first time I possibly could, and personally, yeah. So I like playing these missions by just playing with the vehicles and destroying everything, because it's so much fun, and that's the point of this mission.
Yeah, exactly.
One of the fun kind of bits of trivia about this level is the first time you get in a chopper, you can keep that chopper till the very end of this mission, which is kind of ridiculous considering some of the things you go through. But it is actually possible to carry it all the way through to the very end.
Even through the buildings?
Yes.
What?
Which is nuts.
That's crazy. The other thing to notice in this area, there's ODST drop pods.
Yep.
Yes, there are. There's a few down, and with some dead people inside them.
Yeah. It's fun. It's just fun rolling with, I guess we haven't rolled with ODSTs yet in Halo 3, because it's always Marines, right? And it's just fun to see, like, oh, this guy's a little different. He's got a different helmet on. He's got this little red thing on his arm. Like, let's go. Let's get it going. All right, so let's keep going, because this is a long mission. I'll try to get through this as quickly as possible, but then we want to give every little section justice, because as we mentioned, this mission is so good. So now you kind of hit a fork in the road. You can either go left or you can go right. And I do remember specifically playing this mission originally back with a buddy of mine. We're playing co-op, and this section kind of tripped us up a little bit, because it's like, hey, you can go either way. Which way would you go? We went to the left way, and there's kind of a dead end there, but it's also a cool dead end that you go, and I think that's the way that the game wants you to go. So if you go left, you see, I think there are race in the distance. I'm trying to think here. Let me look at my notes. No, there's no race. There's just a Covenant on the cliff side, and there's some choppers and whatnot. So you go left, and there's like this big structure here, and you obviously want to clear out the area depending on what you're using, if you're doing prowler or chopper or whatever you're doing. So clear out this area, then you'll get to this bridge area, and you kind of go all the way across this bridge, and you'll reach the end, and you'll see that there's sentinels. So there's some sentinels there, and they're having this little battle with the Covenant, the brutes and whatnot. They have like some turrets set up there. So, and there's like this door, and so they're trying to get through this door, but they can't get through the door, and the sentinels aren't going to open this door for you either. So that's kind of the dead end. But Johnson shows up, which is pretty cool. So Johnson comes with his pelican, and there's some dialogue between Miranda and Johnson, saying more or less like, we can't go through here yet. Let's go to the LZ. Follow me. And so then you see Johnson kind of fly off, and so he's like, okay, I have to go to the other fork. I love seeing Johnson just pop up. Like there's more Johnson to come, but throughout Halo, it's just fun to kind of see that character pop up throughout. I can remember back in like when we were playing Halo 2 when he kind of shows up in and out, and it's just always fun to hear his voice and then also see his character model. It's like, oh yeah, he's kind of always there with us the entire time. Did you guys remember when like you were playing this mission? Did you remember this area that you needed to go left and then right, or did you guys just go right?
I always go the correct way.
Sure. David, you remembered?
Yeah.
Okay, but did you still go and like do the Johnson section?
I do. I always do that.
Okay.
I don't know why. I just always do. I know you can skip it, but I always go there.
All right. So then now we go to the kind of back to the fork and go on the right, and underneath there's some ghosts and whatnot, and you kind of going under this other structure. So this is where the first skull is on top of this thing. So you go all the way under, and then you kind of reach some rocks on the side, and you hop out of your vehicle, and you jump over onto this big structure, and it's just it looks like you're like, okay, why am I here? It's cool that I guess I can explore. Again, more fun things about Halo is you can explore the environments a lot more than other games. But you get all the way to the end, and then I feel like originally when I did this, I was watching a walkthrough, but I feel like there's also a way to get a warthog up there maybe and jump off the warthog. But
you can.
I did a grenade jump in order to get up to that skull up there. It's kind of like in the crotch of this little structure.
Oh, that's nice.
I don't know what you call it. But that's the famine skull up there, and that your weapons will hold less ammo if you have the famine skull on. That sounds bad. That sounds horrible.
Boo.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys grenade jump to get up there, or do you do the warthog version?
I suck at grenade jumps.
Yeah.
So normally a warthog.
Gotcha.
Yeah, warthog.
I don't know. I feel like must have been from Halo CE when there was a skull that was hidden by a grenade jump, and I for some reason I'm like okay at grenade jumps now because I think that one took me a long time, so I got a lot of practice. So if you don't know what a grenade jump is, you huck a grenade, and I think I usually do the plasma because it's a little easier because it sticks in one spot. But you huck a grenade and then quickly just kind of run and jump over top of it, and then the explosion will propel you further up into the air. It won't kill you.
If it doesn't kill you, yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm playing on heroic and it won't kill me on heroic. I don't know if it does in legendary, but it'll propel you even further, and then you kind of, once you're in the air, you kind of glide to the place that you want to be. Oh man, we are not done. We are a little ways off, so we'll keep going. So get the skull, then go back kind of up to where the road wants to take you, and then there's an outcrop, or there's a detachment of Covenant up there. I think there's some Marines up there too, up trapped in the corner. I could be wrong, but they're just more resistance to deal with up there at the top. There's I'm forgetting all of the brute rankings, but there's a gold brute up there. It's got like a brute shot, and there's a bunch of jackals and whatnot. So this is another area where you can decide to encounter, you can decide to engage or not. Krista, do you ever happen to ghost? Because there's lots of ghosts around here.
Oh yeah, I switch out the chopper for a ghost as soon as I get to a ghost.
Okay.
So I got it off of those two grunts under the structure.
Okay.
That had ghosts. So I killed one and then took the other's ghost.
David, do you flip out at all?
Not really. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I kind of bounce between, but I like to take the Marines with me. Mm-hmm. So very often I'm in a Prowler or a Mongoose at this stage.
That's a good point though, because as soon as you make the decision to go in a ghost, then you're kind of like, okay, I'm flying solo now, and these guys are probably gonna die regardless of what I do. Even though, they usually do follow you. They grab a weapon or grab a vehicle and follow you. But going ghost is kind of like, all right, I'm just going to go solo for the rest of the way. But the fact that you can fire and drive at the same time is just so good. And just driving ghosts is fun in general.
Yeah.
All right, now this next section is a pain in the butt for me. Just maybe my playstyle or something like that, but you clear out this little area we were just at, then you drive through a little cave, and you can see the LZ in the distance because you can see the race, the AA gun race, way off in the distance. They're just pounding the sky. And then you have a regular wraith kind of off to the right. You have some brutes off to the left. And on heroic, I feel like I didn't know what to do. It's like, okay, do I need to clear out everything? So I tried clearing out everything, and then by the time I got to the wraith, I didn't do a good enough job, and then I got overwhelmed because then at some point there's some ghosts that come flying out at you, and then I tried again, and I decided to just F it and just go and try to take out the AA guns, and then I you can get up there, but as soon as you hop out, there's just too many plasma weapons pointed at you, and they take you out. So I ended up just having to really take my time here, which just isn't my play style. Krista, how do you approach this area?
So I still have my sniper rifle, so I take out all of the brutes to the left.
Do you take out the watchtower too? Like make it crumble?
I take out the watchtower with the ghost.
Oh, okay.
So I shoot. The ghost has great range. You can sit there at the back and pound those watchtowers from really far away. So I do that. Get rid of the watchtower. Take out the remaining brutes with a headshot. Headshot the grunts with the BR. I headed over there, and then by the time you get over there, the two ghosts spawn. Mm-hmm. So I'm in my ghost, and I just kind of kite them around until I kill them. And then I stand very far away from the wraith and a ghost and destroy that. And then I'm very far away from that second watchtower and destroy that and kind of pick off the enemies around there.
That second watchtower can be a pain if you get too close.
Yeah, and then the only remaining are like 2 or 3 brutes and a couple grunts in that little alcove area underneath the rock structure, and I just took those out with the ghost.
Nice. Did you have problems with it, or have you just done it enough that you just kind of breeze through it?
As long as you stay back and you take out everything, it's not that difficult.
Yeah, just be smart, which I'm not always. David, do you have a tough time at all?
Sometimes, yeah, definitely in the higher difficulties. This segment can be pretty tough. Most of the time I go straight for the wraith and try and take out the gunner.
Can you steal the wraith?
Yeah.
You can, yes.
I didn't have any luck. I tried at one point. I was like, okay, it just kept blowing up every time I punched it. So
you have to punch it like twice, and then the canopy will open, and then you can shoot the guy out of the canopy.
Right. Sorry, continue, David. That's
pretty much it. I try and push through and get the wraith, kill the brutes on the left and the towers, and then kind of make my way straight for the AAs. Now today, because I was playing with on normal and with a prowler, kind of just did laps with the prowler and let my troops take care of it. Wasn't too difficult. Yeah. I died once or twice because the wraith hit me straight on, but other than that, it was okay.
Yeah. If you do go for that wraith, and again on the higher difficulties, you kind of have to act fast because the brutes will come and flank you, and then the ghosts come down the hill and whatnot. So you can't just if you're taking that approach, you can't really lollygag. You got to be pretty efficient. So it's either take your time here or be efficient and take down that wraith and go from there. But yeah, once everything kind of behind those AA guns are taken out, those AA wraiths are taken out, then just destroying those is just kind of old hat. And I usually just jump on the back of one and throw a grenade into it or whatnot. Are you doing anything different to take those out, Krista? Or are you hopping on and grenading them?
Oh no, I just ghost them.
oh, okay. Yeah, I guess you can shoot the backs of them.
Yeah, they're turned away from you, so you just hit that weak spot on the back of the wraith, and they blow up pretty fast.
Yeah. All right, so we cleared out this area. Now, this is one of the most, I don't know, is it just the most pumped up you get? A little
epic.
Yeah, this is a good spot right here. This is a good scene. Get some adrenaline
My favorite
going.
thing is dying from debris.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's just so great.
Do you want to talk about it, David, real quick?
Yeah, this is amazing. This is one of my favorite moments in Halo. It's so good. I know we did like a poll about it that we'll talk about, but the answers are all wrong. I don't know why people don't know this, but this is so awesome. So you kind of get up here, you get some cool dialogue with the Marines about saying that, oh man, the Forward Unto Dawn's coming in. Can it even do that? Is it even rated for atmosphere? They're like, we're about to find out. And it's kind of like, it's not a cutscene, it's like a scripted event, because you still have full control over Chief. So you look up in the sky, and there are some horns, some ships fighting in the area, and then a big ass goddamn spaceship flies down in real time, and like pretty much flies up on top of you and like lands, and it's so amazing. And just seeing it fly in, the scale of it's so amazing to see it happen in real time. And it's so cool. It's so goddamn cool.
And the whoosh.
And the whoosh. And when it does fly in, like the debris around you, like you can get killed by like the anti-air rates if they're in the right position. You're not signing correctly. The debris from that will fly out and hit you and kill you. Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
And then where does it start you? Does the checkpoint right there, or do you have to do the entire counter again?
I can't remember.
No, it's there's a checkpoint right there. So if you die from debris, you just have to have the Forward Unto Dawn come right back in. They were nice. They don't make you do the encounter over again.
Checkpoints in Halo now are pretty good. It's all of Halo. They're pretty nice for the most part.
So all you have to do is, if you're really having a difficult time with an area, all you have to do is kind of go back a little bit, and then they'll give you another checkpoint. So I got a checkpoint right as I killed the Wraith, because that first area didn't have any more enemies in it.
Oh,
so once I killed the Wraith, there were no enemies. It gave me the checkpoint, and then I could move into the other area with the AA Wraiths.
Gotcha. All right, keep going here, David.
So Forward Unto Dawn lands. It's amazing. You get it like keys comes on the channel and tells you to go to the rear of the ship, and you're probably there already. And it opens out, and a big kind of lift kind of opens down. And on it is like 3 tanks and a bunch of warthogs, and it's amazing. And they all just drive out, and there's loads of Marines, there's Pelicans there dropping off troops and stuff like that. It's so amazing. There's some cool dialogue here between Johnson and Guilty Spark. He drops in as well. So essentially you need Guilty Spark to go back to these doors and reopen them for you.
Yep.
So you're gonna fight your way in with these tanks and warthogs. It's so good.
Kind of a fun little Easter egg I found in this section, because I'm crazy. So if you're so inclined, hop into one of those tanks and just start blowing up all the other vehicles.
Oh.
And when the Marines turn on you, Guilty Spark fires a giant laser at you and murders you.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if the Marines turn on you, Guilty Spark will kill you with a laser.
Oh, funny.
So that is very fun. And that laser is a very nice laser. We'll learn about that later.
That's right. He's got a good little laser face going on. All right. So yeah, I mean, you hop in the tank, right? What else do? You hop in the tank, and you got all this convoy of vehicles to escort you back to the doors. It just feels so good. This section does. Oh, the thing I wanted to comment on is, I think this is where Johnson, maybe he calls him a light bulb before in Halo 2, but he calls him light bulb here. Again, which is just so good. All right, now, so is it a Marine that says tank beats everything?
Yes, it's a Marine that's on your tank.
Yeah. So now every encounter, tank, you blow up a ghost, and there's a Marine that says, "Yeah, tank beats ghost," and then you keep going, and then you blow up something else. You eventually hear the hunters are the next one. So you kind of clear the area down below. We don't have to do a walkthrough. You just blow everything up, right? But you get back to that little cave, and then some hunters drop in, and you just destroy those hunters with the Scorpion tank, and then the guy chimes in, "Tank beats hunters." I love it. And then you keep going, and then does he only say it when you blow up the Phantom?
I think it is. Yeah, you have to blow up the Phantom.
Okay.
Which is just sitting there. It's asking for it.
Yeah, you can miss it if you're, if you don't pelt it enough. But once you then, put enough rounds into the Phantom, it explodes. It always feels good to blow up Phantoms. And then, he says, "Tank beats everything." And then another one, and I think he says, "Oh man, I could do this all day." And it's just, it's good.
It's so adorable. It's amazing.
Yep. Feels real good here. All right, so we just head back to the doors. You know, there's a little more resistance underneath. You're just destroying ghosts and everything that you can. The area has kind of reset once you get back to the area that has the doors. So there are some wraiths now to deal with, and you make pretty much quick work of them. There's 2 in the distance, and you can just snipe them from a distance, or depending on if you're flaming or not as your scorpion, you can just head up. There's some more turrets to deal with around here. And then there is a wraith on the bridge itself, which is a little bit of a pain. You can, if it's not hiding behind those kind of pillar things, you can take it out. Or if you kind of go up and around, then you just kind of have to have a little showdown, a little wraith scorpion showdown. And tank always wins, so it's all good. I guess what's the approach here? Is it any different for you guys? David, are you're rolling in the tank? Do you try to pot shot everything from a distance?
No, you've pretty much described it. At normal, you just fly through it. So, I just went straight forward. I mean, I had a tank full of Marines. One of them had sniper. Another one had a rocket. So, if I wasn't firing, one of them were. So, I pretty much cleaned up pretty quickly here.
Okay. So, the rest of your convoy goes down below, and you're up top in the tank, or whatever, most likely the tank, whatever you're taking up there. And then 343 comes in, and he opens the door for you, because he's a Forerunner, right? He knows how to open the door. Yay, Guilty Spark. He's not quite like R2-D2, but, R2-D2 is always handy to have around.
He's way more sassy.
Wait, R2 is, or 343? I feel like they're both pretty sassy. There's some sassy robots going on.
Oh, God.
All right, so you go through the door now, and then up above, you get a Sentinel laser. Is that what they're called? Sentinel laser?
Oh, good. The best gun in the game.
They're a little better than Halo 2 versions, right?
Always pick up the Sentinel beam, always.
Sentinel, yeah.
I did use it today.
It's not too bad. I mean, it's not Halo 2 one that's horrible, but this one's a little bit better, I feel like. So
Boo.
Go up there and grab that. There's some other, equipment that you can grab up there if you want. And then 343 opens the next door. And this is where do you have to be quick? So this is where the other terminal is. You go and do the light bridge. You go hit the button, and then that allows all of your convoy, all of your tanks and whatnot to kind of go through this building. And then if you got to turn around, and you do have to do it quickly, Krista. Is that what you're saying?
No,
okay.
You just walk up to the terminal and it opens, because there's no elevator here. You just walk to the next door on the other side of the bridge. So the terminals, this is probably, if you've been playing through and you don't know anything about the terminal, this is probably the first one you're actually going to find. Mm-hmm. Because the moment you hit that button, the terminal automatically opens, even though you don't get close to it. And then, of course, closes, but once you approach it again, it opens and you get to see the crazy eye thing going on, and then you access it and you can read it.
Okay. Maybe that's why I thought it would close and then I couldn't access, because it started to close and I had to run up to it and hit the button to access.
No, it only turns on once you hit that button. So if you go up to the terminal before hitting the light bridge button, it won't open. But once you hit that light bridge open, it becomes accessible. So
I get you. All right, so do that again. We'll talk about the terminals later, but you can look down and you can kind of see, now that you've turned this light bridge on, all your tanks and all your vehicles are just sitting there waiting, and then they kind of cruise across there. This mission has so many epic moments. There's another awesome epic moment right here. You make it your way through the Forerunner structure, and then out the door, kind of the door opens for you, and then a scarab shows up. It walks on top of you. It's so cool.
Don't get hit by the feet. You will die.
Yeah, I guess you probably can die if you get too close. So you see this giant kind of Forerunner-y structure off in the distance there. There's a waterfall behind it or something. The scarab is just kind of crawling around this arena, and then you see Race and Ghosts and a bunch of stuff down below. And it's Scarab fight number 2. Let's go. David, what are you doing here?
Yes, it's amazing. First thing you do, a Marine comes up and jumps out of a Gauss Hog. So I jump in and I let him shoot, and I fight my way down through a bunch of ghosts, and then you meet up with your forces at the door. You have a cool moment of all the tanks coming through, and then you have lines of enemies to fight. which is pretty cool. So there's a whole bunch of wraiths and brute choppers and ghosts all around here. So you push your way down the ridge towards the scarab. And what I love doing is that in the structure in front of the scarab, it's like a big ramp.
Yeah.
But inside it is like grav lifts and some kind of and a dropper and stuff like that. And if the Gauthog is still alive, I use that. So I go back up onto the ramp of this structure while the scarab is walking around. I throw down a grav lift and I boost my car onto it.
Yes.
And I try and board it that way. That's what I always do here. Sometimes you miss, sometimes you don't, but I love doing it. Crashing my Warhog onto this thing, jumping out, running around and blowing it up before any of the tanks kind of get there. Because the tanks will eventually come down and kind of help you fight it, but you need to kind of shoot the legs yourself. The tanks are real bad. The AI don't really do that for you. You kind of have to do it yourself. But that's how I love taking this out.
Yeah, feels really good. That grav lift, if you want to get the next skull, you need that grav lift in the middle structure. So you can either do David's approach, or you can save it for later, which,
There's 2 or 3 of them.
Oh, are there more than one? Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Chris, are you doing anything different here?
So I jumped in the gunner seat of the Gauthog and rode it up to the tanks, and then took a tank, and then took the scarab down with the tank.
Oh, so you shot the legs down and then just kind of did the standard version?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 And that feels
you just
good
shoot the back of the scarab, and it opens, and then you can kill it.
Yeah. That feels good too. I did the ramp thing. I forgot that the ramp was there, and I tried it once, and I decided, I think I might have been in a Warthog, I might have been in that Gauthog, and I feel like it didn't have enough distance. So then I tried again, and I ended up doing it with a chopper, but I didn't use a grav lift. I just jumped and went for it, and he somehow stuck the landing, but that felt really good. Yeah, scarab fights are always good. It's just it's fun. We've in the previous game, I think this was Halo 2 that we fought the scarab. It's just a different fight. But now having the second fight, it's like you kind of know. You have the first fight and you figure out how to do it, and then you have the second fight. It's like, I know how to do this. Let's go. You don't have to do the standard like Krista did and wait for it to kind of lower. You can get pretty creative in this. The level design of this mission allows you to do that. All right, so we take that down. I think you have to clear everybody out also in order to kind of move on. But then in this section is where, let's see, the shipmaster kind of chimes in, and he says that Truth's fleet lies in ruins. So he's done his job, right? He the 3-to-1 odds didn't really matter. So he's indeed, made it a fair fight. He's taken them out. So that's cool to hear. And then Johnson says that Arbiter is at the top of this ramp here, so you have to fight your way up this ramp. This ramp's kind of a pain, a little bit more than what I was remembering originally. But again, if you're taking your time and just kind of, if you have if you have like a carbine at this point, you can use that carbine to kind of snipe. There's a lot of jackal snipers up at the top, just kind of eyeing you up and pot shotting you. And then there's like little groups of brutes, and then some jackals up along the way. Is this a sticking point for you at all, Krista, or do you just kind of cruise up this?
I still have my sniper.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I took my sniper until the very last encounter. So.
Okay.
I shot the brutes in the head and then cleared everything out with my BR.
Yeah. So you're not having problems. David, is a sticking point for you, or are you good here?
Sometimes, yeah. It depends kind of what weapons I have. I'm normally near the end of whatever ammo I have, so I'm kind of picking up whatever weapons are dropping.
Yeah. I also feel like I kind of relax after I take that scarab down. I'm like, okay, did that. Now I'm just going to cruise up this hill, and I try to rush past everything too quickly, and it just, ends up not working out. So you have to be smart on the way up. When you see the Arbiter, so I did a little research on this too, and it sounds like other people maybe have a similar thought, but the Arbiter's armor looks gold to me here. Do you guys remember that at all?
So it's really weird because sometimes the Arbiter's armor looks like a goldish tan, and then sometimes it looks like a silver. It consistently looks silver in Halo 2, but in Halo 3, I'm not sure if it's lighting or something. Sometimes it looks tan and sometimes it looks silver.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just bizarre, and maybe it's like a bronze or something like that. However, whatever color they used, and just the lighting that's part of the game, the way it shines off, it's like, did he like go through a costume change when they were in slip space? What's going on?
He just painted his armor. He's like, I'm gonna change it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so at the top here, you're meeting Arbiter. You have a couple of Marine buddies, and then Guilty Spark kind of goes a little bit weird here, doesn't he? Like, what does he? He like shoots one of the Marines.
Oh yeah, he stings. The little bastard stung me. Yeah.
Because he's having a little trouble with the door, and then the Marine's like, I'll see if I can figure it out. And then 343's not having that. He like essentially just, stings him in the face, and he backs off. He's still alive, but like, it's you're like, okay, 343, what you doing? Just kind of reminds you that he's still a little bit of a wild card, I guess, right? From the original game,
yeah.
You blew up his Halo. You were fighting 343 at one point, and now he's kind of your buddy. We're kind of on the same path, but he's still got his quirks to deal with. All right, so let's see here. Are we getting the terminal? Are we getting close to another terminal here? Not yet.
Well, we are. Yeah, it's gonna be after this encounter, I think, the sleeping encounter.
Okay. Yep. Yeah, so you do get inside this door, and I think Arbiter does say like the grunts are lazy or whatnot, and they're all just kind of sleeping inside. So you just
there's also an Easter egg here.
Oh, there is.
Yeah. So if you don't wake up any of the sleeping grunts, and you stay on the the rightmost wall, and you just keep going forward, in the right corner there is a brute peeing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is where the peeing brute is.
He's just pissing right there. That's funny.
Yeah.
Is he muttering to himself too, or like saying anything?
Yeah. Yep.
That's
so
good.
you can. He's facing the corner, so you can assassinate him as well, and then just take out all the grunts.
They're just inside. They assume that the scarab just killed you, so they're just hanging out, chilling. That's good. All right, so then we head down, clear the area, kill the pissing guy, and then head down through the next door. The next door is where you kind of drop down below, and then you kind of underneath this little platform, and then that's where this last terminal is.
Yeah, it's like underneath stairs, kind of.
Yeah, so easily missable, right? You could just cruise right past it, not know it was there.
If you're watching 343, he actually does fly into that room pretty much automatically.
Oh, he does down there.
Yeah.
So maybe he's kind of leading.
So this terminal incorporates him a little bit, so he flies into the room with the terminal.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So now the rest of this area, it's kind of hard to do a little bit of walkthrough because it's just you're continuing to descend and go through doors, and you're meeting resistance along the way. There is the cowbell skull is here. So when I mentioned earlier that you need to grab that grab lift, you actually end up grab lifting up. There's like a big kind of ramp that heads down. You use your grab lift, and then you can kind of jump up into one of these little sections and then grab the skull within there. But yeah, we're really just kind of clearing these rooms, proceeding until we get... This is the cartographer that we're getting to, right?
Yes. So we need to know We need to know Truth's exact location and just the layout. Because what's the first thing you do when you get to a Halo? You find the map.
Exactly.
So we're finding the map to the Halo.
Obviously, you got to find the map, right? And you clear the room, and then you clear the area, get all the way down to the bottom, go through a couple doors, and then you do reach this opening, which is really cool on the skybox area. There's a big button for Chief to hit. Guilty Spark is there, and then we have another little fun cutscene.
Also, the huge waterfall.
The waterfall, yeah, just for ambiance, right? All right, so David, you've done all the cutscenes, but Chris is gonna dive into some terminal stuff. So, are you cool doing this cutscene also?
Sure.
All right.
Oh.
So, David, you take this one because since Chris is doing all the terminals later. Yeah.
So this cutscene's pretty cool. You push the button and big map opens up, and it's supposed to show you where you are. And this is kind of like, 'cause no one really knows where they are in terms of the space. I know they're on the arc, but they don't know where they are. They've an idea by looking at the skybox, but it's kind of confirmed here that you're outside of the galaxy. You're not actually within the Milky Way anymore. Now, there's kind of an interesting piece, like the Milky Way in the level is represented as a barred spiral galaxy, but when you activate the cartographer, it's represented as a spiral, which is incorrect. And the Milky Way is in fact a barred spiral galaxy, so just so you know.
And so you're outside the Milky Way, and so what I mentioned earlier is like it takes an extra week to get there, or it takes more time to get there because it is so far away.
Well,
yeah.
You're also 2 to the 18th light years from the galactic center of the Milky Way. I'm pretty sure, like, all of the events of Halo take place in the Milky Way, so if you're that far outside of the Milky Way, you are the farthest human that is outside of your home galaxy.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, we will never get there, not in our lifetime. That's just, it's so far away. Like, it's hard to fathom.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So, anyway, their chief is asking Guilty Spark to analyze this data, like what's going on, where are we, what's happening. So, Guilty Spark shows them where they are, and then shows them where Truth are. He's got some kind of communications array, but because of what he's done, he's activated a kind of barrier defensive mechanism over the center of the arc. Now 343 kind of analyzes some stuff here, and I think he figures out what's in there, but he doesn't have time to tell Chief or anything like that, but what's actually within the core. So very quickly, before you can get any more kind of information out of them, the Covenant come in with a phantom and stuff like that, so you have to get out of there. So there's kind of a cool little kind of cutscene where Guilty Spark is like, we have to get to the center as soon as possible, we have to go there now. So they kind of like, okay, we have to get out of here. And there's a cool moment where Arbiter jumps onto a Banshee and says he's going to help Johnson clear the skies, because some Pelicans are going to come in and pick you up on one level down from where you are. That's kind of the end of the cutscene.
Yep.
There's a few kind of little bits of trivia there in terms of if anything happens to the Arbiter here for any reason, he'll just disappear from the mission and you won't see him again. So like, you can shoot the Banshee and like disable it yourself, but you won't be able to get in it. If the Arbiter misses the Banshee for any reason, he just disappears. So I thought it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. He hijacks it. It's great.
Yeah.
And it
also
happens in the mission. It's not part of the cutscene. It happens, you're kind of like deciding what to do next. And Arbiter,
in gameplay.
Like, I'm taking that Banshee. That's mine. That's good.
Also, just a note that during that cutscene, Guilty Spark actually references shield installations.
Oh, he does, yeah. He thought the Ark was part of a shield. He kind of mentions the fact that why he doesn't know everything is because of compartmentalization that the Forerunners did. So he was the monitor for installation 04, but that's literally it. He knew nothing else. They didn't tell him anything else. Mm-hmm. So he knew that there was a thing called the Ark, not what it did or where it was. So he assumed it had something to do with a shield world, which is the first time we've heard this mentioned, which is important in terms of Halo 4 and stuff like that.
Yeah, and we'll go over that when we get closer to that part.
Definitely. All right, so we have to escape, and there's now Covenant. You go back through the doors you came. There's now Covenant behind you, and you're clearing it out. There's big bad brutes. There's jackals to deal with. Again, this area is, because it's so tight, it is a little bit hard to do a walkthrough. So we need essentially to get to the very bottom now, and clear through a couple of different waves of Covenant to get down there. 343, I think, is floating around here at one point, so you do see him flying around. But when we do get to the bottom and clear the area, I mean, I guess, is there anything that you guys want to touch on as you're making this descent down to the landing zone or the extraction zone?
Yeah, there's like a as you're going down, you're like on this you're on a upper level, and then on the lower level there's like a chieftain that's yelling at you.
Oh yeah,
He's
that's
like,
we're not there yet. So I was just saying, like, on the way down there, is there anything to cover? Like,
just the stealth brutes. That's kind of
that's true.
Well, the chieftain yells at you in the stealth brute room, and then he runs out.
Oh,
that's right.
He sees you there. Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. He says, like, the pack will feast on you. When I killed the stealth brutes and moved to the next room, he didn't actually get to that bottom area. He got somehow stuck on top of the door.
Oh.
He was just... So he's on top of the Forerunner door. I'm just, like, looking at him, and he's looking at me, and I'm like, okay, fire grenade, and then he died. And then I just walked to the next area. I took a screenshot and a video of it, so that'll be on Xbox. But I was just so perplexed and confused.
That's cool. So I didn't realize you see him and then he kind of goes down to the bottom. That's cool.
Yeah. When you're going in that, when you're on the top level and all the stealth brutes are below you, he like is in the room and he's like, "The pack will feast on your bones," and then he leaves. Nice. He's like, they're gonna feast on your bones, and I'm getting out of here.
All right, so we do get our way down to the bottom, and there's, you're at the bottom of this kind of structure, and then you see the chieftain. There we go. He's got his gravity hammer. He's kind of like, he's taunting you, right? Like, he's like, come on, let's go. And there's like a little fight club going on. Like, there's a ring of brutes around you, and he wants to 1v1 you, right?
Yeah, I didn't realize that for the longest time. That like he will just fight you and all the other brutes will watch unless you engage them. I didn't know this at all. So there is some kind of cool lore, I think, in around who this brute is. But I will say I did find out when I was looking up this episode. When you reach here, originally this platform was supposed to be a train that takes you to another level, and that was actually cut from the game.
Interesting. Okay.
So yeah, the environmental artist Paul Russell suggested it would be replaced by a chieftain fight area, which is what we get in the final game.
Super cool.
That was pretty cool.
In the center is a hologram of Truth, and I'll try to look that up. I didn't write that one down, but he is in there. But yeah, so so everybody's just gonna wait until you kill the chieftain, right? Because you have to end the mission, but until you finally kill him, and then everyone else kind of comes after you.
They do, yeah.
Yeah, which is cool. And are the brutes, are they jump pack brutes or are they jet pack brutes?
They are indeed.
So they're
jump pack, I think, right?
They don't fly, they don't hover. They only jump from place to place. They don't hover in the sky or anything.
But the elites that we saw in Halo 2, those were jetpack elites, right?
Yes, because they were able to sustain flight. I think that's the difference. I think you can sustain flight with the jetpack, and then the jump pack you can just jump from here and there.
Or maybe it's just because the brutes are so goddamn heavy and huge that they can't.
They should just strap 2 of them to them then.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. Yeah, so then we just, we deal with all these brutes jumping around and hopping around, and it's a good time. I like the end of this mission. What do you do here, Krista? What's your approach?
I still have my sniper rifle, so...
Oh, yeah. Damn, you're efficient.
I was able to kill about 3 of them, and then I ran out, and at that point I had a carbine and just took out the rest with the carbine, and I think I had one of the brute shots. I think I had a brute shot from somewhere, so
okay.
That's what I did.
Anything else, David, any different?
No, pretty much.
Yeah.
I just had whatever weapon I had. I didn't get a brute shot, pretty much. I picked up the hammer and started wrecking shop with that.
Yeah, I did that too. Yep, for sure. Anytime I see a grab hammer, I use that bad boy. Feels real good. But yeah, this section isn't too hard. I mean, on Heroic, I don't think I died at all. I feel like the jump pack brutes waste a lot of time being in the air versus just, there's enough of them that they could all just focus fire on you, but they don't. They just fly around a lot, and there's enough cover to figure out, how to take care of them all, or just kind of pick them off one by one. Yeah, and then Johnson shows up, right? He shows up and picks you up at the end, and we made it. Oof. This is a long mission. I mean, it's good. This is one of the best missions of Halo. This is one of my favorites. Feels so good. The Halo, I feel like we've been complaining about Halo 3 more than I was expecting, because I love Halo 3. And in the early missions, for me, there's some good ones, there's some that not so good ones, but as soon as you get to the arc, yeah, this is good. Like this mission, the next mission, we'll talk about Cortana, how our thoughts are on that, but it's just the end of this game is very, very good.
Epic.
Mm-hmm.
Now that was an epic gamer moment.
But I do like how the cutscene has Johnson on the turret, and he kind of points it at you, right? And he's got his cigar in, and yeah, very good. He says,
I love the cool way Chief just stepped onto the Pelican as it turns, and in one single fluid motion, the Pelican kind of has its rear doorway, and it just kind of skims, and it's just with it perfectly in step with Chief as he walks on. The Pelican keeps moving. Thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I gotcha. He just kind of just steps onto it. It's good.
Yeah, as he strides, it's pretty cool.
And you see all the Sentinels here. And why are they showing the Sentinels? Are they just saying hey, we're all on the same side? Is that what that's for?
They have a priority task.
It's hinting on what's coming next, essentially.
Gotcha.
These guys got work to do. They're not here to mess around with us or the Covenant. They got stuff to do.
They got other things to worry about. Okay. Well, man, what did we miss? That was the longest walkthrough I think we've ever had. What trivia did we miss? Or let's do trivia, then terminal, then community. We still got a little ways to go.
Okay, well, we kind of talked about most of it, and Krista's got some interesting facts, so I'll let her do that in a second. I kind of said mostly what I want to say in terms of trivia. There's a few random bits and pieces. It's the only level in Halo 3 in which all Covenant vehicles and weapon emplacements make an appearance, including the incomplete Mantis anti-air cannon, which we had seen. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
The Mantis? Is that what you said?
Yeah, that's what it's called, the anti-AA guns they're building.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. That's kind of it. I mean, I said about the chopper. I mean, it's possible to destroy the Scarab as soon as it shows up. If you destroy a ghost at the right time when it explodes, that explosion can boost you up just high enough to get into the doorway of a Scarab. Oh. You can then fight and kill it then and there. But if you do, the Scarab still shows up later on, further down the map as you turn around.
I see.
But it'll have like smoke coming out and stuff like that. Half the Scarab is missing. It's kind of weird, but I've never seen that done. But I was kind of reading up at it. It's kind of interesting.
Cool.
That's kind of really.
Krista, what was your little tidbit? Actually, it's a big tidbit.
Yeah, I have some crazy numbers to throw at y'all. So, one, the exact light year location from the Galactic Center is 262,144 light years, and of course, a light year is a year of travel at the speed of light.
Yeah, that's crazy.
We can't do speed of light yet,
nope.
So I mean that's gonna take quite a while. I mean that's a long car drive, so be sure to have extra snacks.
Yep, and maybe a movie
lots
to
of bathroom
watch.
Breaks. Yeah.
Download a podcast or two.
Yeah, just one or two. Download this podcast. I'm sure it'll last you to the end of the trip. But we have some crazy numbers we're dealing with, and so just to give you, I'm gonna start with just a Halo. So, a Halo's diameter is 10,000 kilometers, or 6,214 miles. So that's the diameter. The length of the installation 00, or the Ark, is 127,530 kilometers, or 79,243 miles.
Wow. So it's 10 versus that number. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's that much bigger.
Yeah, so Earth is the same way. It's 12,000 kilometers, or 8,000 miles in diameter. So we're talking 127,000 versus 12,000 kilometers. So the Ark is a big boy.
The Ark is 10 times the size of Earth. Essentially,
yes.
It gets sprawls that distance. That's nuts.
Actually, yeah, it is. It's 10 times the size of Earth. You literally move the decimal over once, and that is the.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So it's
crazy.
It's pretty insane. So.
Just to give you an idea of the scale, and so I guess I was thinking about that because I knew how big the Ark was, and they seem to move around the Ark pretty quickly. You know, so
you could literally slip space travel from one place to another on the Ark.
Guess.
But
yeah,
I think everything in this game is taking place on one of the petals, if you want to call them. Because I mean, you kind of start at the outer part of the petal and move your way forward to where truth is.
When I think when you saw the Ark, kind of saw how it was sprawling, it looked like in the center was that barrier. Like it does show it to you, kind of a little globe in the middle. And so that's where we're headed next.
Yes, and we'll talk about exactly what the stuff in the middle is later.
Yep, for sure. All right, I don't think I can add anything else. Let's do some terminal stuff. Let's get back into here's the deep stuff. You've entered the deep lore section of the podcast. All right.
I'm going to try my best to summarize this in a way that actually makes sense and doesn't take us 3 hours to get through.
So just take us through how it works, like for one of them, and then just cover on the three.
So first, I just want to talk about the pain of reading these terminals with absolutely zero context when this came out, because now we know exactly what's going on in these terminals, but you read these and it's like you're reading a different language, and you're like, I don't know what's going on.
Well, like
it's
when
very confusing.
There's like a phrase or a word in brackets and it's in red, and you're like, what is that supposed to mean? Is that supposed to mean like it's redacted and somebody's replaced a different word, or is that like a summarization of a word that we don't have? Like it's so unclear.
Yeah, it's still unclear. That part is still very unclear. But when you enter a terminal, it kind of gives you a message at first. So it's kind of a basic message that is usually a report from a war. And then after about maybe 10 seconds, the terminal suddenly bleeps error messages. On the side, a line of code comes, and it's almost like the terminal is redirecting you to a different log. Mm-hmm. So if you're fast, you can read that first log. Also, a note, the terminals do have different, an extra piece of dialogue if you're playing it on Legendary. So I'll go through that a little bit as well. So...
But it swooshes down, and it kind of takes a while, right? It's almost like finding information in a giant data, like a visual database or something like that.
Yeah, and it's all honeycombed, so it zooms you out of the first honeycomb, and then you just see this entire wall of just honeycombs, and it's just going so fast through it all, and then it finally will stop at whatever this terminal, wherever this being wants to show you.
Right.
And then it zooms into it, and then you're able to read it, and then you can actually read it at your own pace and just press A to kind of scroll through it. So, the first terminal, the original dialogue is just kind of a war dialogue, kind of talking about how we're losing and, what's going on. It becomes pretty evident pretty fast that this is the Forerunner Flood War, or the tail end of the Forerunner Flood War, and it's just kind of giving you context. So when the terminal redirects, you are introduced to these characters L and D, which later in this terminal, they address each other as the Librarian and the Didact.
Right, and you kind of have to figure that out because it's always L and D the entire way.
Yeah, this first terminal they do call each other Librarian and Didact in the different texts, but from then on it's just L and D, so you kind of have to remember. So the Librarian is talking about indexing as many species as possible. So the Librarian is actually tasked with categorizing every single species and making sure they're ready for the aftermath of the Halo. So she's trying to index as many different species as possible to be redistributed among the galaxy. She's kind of lamenting the fact that she can't do everything. She can't get them all. She's missing worlds because they've already been overcome by the flood. And then the Didact is actually trying to get her to stop because she is way out there on the outskirts in the middle of this war, and he wants her to come back to him. The Didact, of course, wants to keep cataloging because that's her main goal. She wants
the Librarian.
The Librarian, sorry. That's her main goal. She wants to, make sure that different species are able to live and keep going. And it's a dialogue between the Didact back and forth. And then eventually the Librarian just says, look, I need you to just get all of the vessels that are out there and have them go to the Ark. That is the only safe place left. Take everyone back to the Ark. Don't worry about me. Mm-hmm. And so that's how that one ends. The legendary text to this is kind of just a general... I don't think we still don't know exactly who it is, but it's a Forerunner military leader, and he's kind of talking about losing the war and destroying population centers to deny assets to the enemy. So during the Forerunner Flood War, something that they did is that if a world was going to be overcome by the flood, they would just commit mass suicide to keep the flood from taking over that biomass and keep going. So that's kind of what's going on in that legendary he's talking about. Is this really what I'm supposed to be doing, being a protector and stuff like that? These are all very grim, by the way. I mean, it is very apparent that you are seeing this from the losing side of a war.
Yep.
So Terminal 2, the first report or the first thing you see isn't really worth really going over. So it goes straight to the Librarian and the Didact. The Librarian is excited because she's almost done cataloging what she can and starts urging the Didact to fire the array. The Didact, of course, says the activation of the array is murder and will destroy the galaxy. We are here to save the galaxy. And he starts mentioning the Mantle of Responsibility. Mm-hmm. So the Mantle of Responsibility is a Forerunner, or it's been a concept before the Forerunners, but it is that the highest civilization, the one who has attained the best technology and the best just society, is supposed to look over all of the other races of the galaxy, and because they are so superior technologically and societal from the other races, they are the caretakers of the galaxy. They're supposed to make sure everyone is getting along, make sure the wars between species happen, but nothing comes and just destroys everything. Like, if there's a big threat, they're the ones who will rise up and protect it.
I think in release order, this might be the first mention of the mantle.
Yes.
We've talked about it because I think the MCC interjects it a little bit here and there. An Anniversary might as well. Halo CE Anniversary. But, so this mantle thing is a new concept to people that are playing this in 2007.
All of this Forerunner stuff is pretty much the first time we're hearing of it.
Yep.
Yeah. So, like, cataloging and stuff like that, we really don't know.
Mm-hmm.
We know
that
the
Forerunner dialogue was, like, fascinating.
Yeah.
It was so addicting.
Yeah, this is why it was so important, because we can give you the context to everything, but if this was 2007, we'd be like, what is the mantle?
Mm-hmm.
Why is she cataloging? Why don't they want to fire the Halo? What are they fighting? So we're kind of giving you this perspective with all the knowledge we have now.
Yeah.
Which is a lot. So the didact is kind of talking about how important the mantle is, how important it is for them to protect the species and not cause mass extinction on a galactic scale. Because, I mean, if you're the protector of something and you just kill everything, it's probably not a good idea. The librarian says the mantle is a fairy tale. If you were to let... She kind of says... She doesn't say parasite, but, you know, it would be silly for you to... think you can fight this parasite when everything's dying. We need to salvage what we can. And she also mentions guardianship and guardians a couple times in this. Kind of just...
Did she?
Yeah. It's kind of... She's kind of referring to the Forerunners, but also they are the highlighted, like, in orange in this, so I thought that might be interesting to know.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When it's redacted and it's kind of filled in.
It's interesting, and we can talk about this stuff forever. I just want to mention it's interesting that the librarian is cataloging life forms. She's trying to save life forms, but she's the one that also wants to fire the array, fire the Halos.
Which is why she's cataloging them. She knows the only way to save everything would be to destroy everything, and then her plan enacts once the Halo rings fire and everything's reseeded throughout the galaxy. She also says that the mantle has sealed their own doom because it's caused them to be arrogant and not really take the Flood as a serious threat. Because in the early days of the Forerunner War, they were like, we can deal with it. It's fine. We'll send a couple guys out there. And of course, the didact says, we're learning their tactics. We can beat them. We can do this. And that's kind of how Terminal 2, or at least the main part of Terminal 2, leads off. And now we go to the legendary part, which is even crazier at this point. So we're introduced to two characters, MB and LF. MB and LF are having a very civil debate about peacekeeping in the galaxy, what peace is, why people are scared. They bring up immortality a couple times and just what it is to be a peacekeeper of the galaxy. They talk quite a bit, and it's all very ethical and kind of a pondering conversation, kind of picking each other's brains. Towards the end of it, MB is kind of talks about their confusion that, they had traveled all this way to talk to LF, and he was expecting violence. He wasn't expecting a civil conversation. And then both start talking about how they eventually want a peaceful solution between both of them, and that there's a war going on, but if we can talk like this, maybe we can find a solution that doesn't mean us fighting. So that's kind of how that ends off.
So the war, and you may have mentioned it already, but the war was like 300 years or something like that, right?
Oh, it was longer than that. It was a crazy... if you guys talk real quick, I can fact check.
Oh, okay. But yeah. So I forget, I was doing some research on my end too, but the Flood, and maybe I'm misspeaking, but it's like the Flood are chasing the humans are running away, and then there's the human Forerunner War. Like, this whole conflict is just lasts centuries. It's just a big, long, drawn-out thing, whereas I think before the before the humans kind of came to the Forerunners, like things were pretty okay, and then this giant conflict came up.
Yeah, it's about 300 years long. It's a 300-year-long war. So that's about it for Terminal 2. We have one more terminal, I promise. Terminal 3 is actually interesting. If you remember earlier, Guilty Spark actually kind of guides you to this terminal. So this terminal actually opens before it kind of redirects you to the passage you're supposed to be reading. It's between Guilty Spark and whatever construct is guiding you to these. And it's them, like, Guilty Spark's like, wait, what are you doing here? Who are you? What's going on? And they kind of bicker back and forth a little bit. And then when the screen goes to error and starts redirecting you, one of the error messages, I see you, Reclaimer. So there's obviously something in the system that is trying to guide us to a specific set of information that'll guide us. Either us or Master Chief, who knows?
Right, yeah.
So this is mostly, the main part of this is mostly the didact. He is talking about this construct that has been built called Medicant Bias.
MB?
MB, yep, MB. So Medicant Bias is a contender class AI, one of the most powerful AIs ever to exist, the most powerful AI the Forerunners have ever made. He was supposed to defeat the Flood by finding the compound mind or the grave mind that controls the Flood and coax him. They wanted to coax him out into the open so that the Forerunners could assault him head on and draw it into battle, because every time they even tried to get close to the grave mind, the Flood would push the Forerunners back. So they are trying to make an AI so incredibly smart to contend with the vast intelligence of the compound mind or grave mind. So he wants to, and then at the end of that, of course, he's talking to the librarian. He says, once that happens, I can come rescue you. I can stop what I'm doing and I can come rescue you. And the librarian's, that's insane. You're insane. Why would you do that? We need to fire the Halo array right now. We don't want this war to last another 300 years. Mm-hmm. And then we go to the legendary. So now we have the name of MB, Medicant Bias, who is talking to LF. And throughout this one in particular, you can kind of put the pieces together and figure out that LF is the compound mind or the grave mind. And they are debating and they are talking.
Is LF life form, or what would...
I guess it's life form. I'm not exactly sure what LF means, but through all of the wikis and everything, it's pretty much a consensus that it is the grave mind he's talking to, just because the history of everything, this is an event that we know happened, that this is a dialogue that we know happened. We're just reading the dialogue now. So right now they're debating the galaxy's current course and how best to govern the galaxy. I mean, of course, the Medicant Bias is talking about his creators, and just an aside, so much of this is redacted, and it's mostly the Forerunners, Flood, me, you, that are kind of redacted, so that you kind of don't know exactly what either of them are addressing, but now that we have a higher understanding of what's going on, we kind of fill in the pieces at this point.
Yep.
So talking about how best to govern the galaxy, of course, the Grave Mind is talking about how he wants unity, how every mind is speaking through him, and the galaxy would be peaceful with all of the inhabitants just becoming a compound mind with him. And at the end of this, Medicant Bias and LF, or the Grave Mind, kind of feel like their path both come to the same conclusion. Kind of the same oneness of a galaxy being peaceful and all together. So you can kind of see Medicant Bias turning towards Grave Mind's side at this point. And that is the terminals. Hooray!
Well, the 3 terminals that are in this mission, there are more.
Yeah, there are 7, so there are 3 more next mission, and then 1 at the very end that we'll go through. So,
good work.
It's pretty crazy stuff. The Didactic and the Librarian become very important later, so if you haven't actually read through these, I can only summarize so much. There's a lot of nuances in all of these that I'm trying to get as many as I can in.
I think there's a website that like has them. You can experience them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like Halopedia, and they have videos, or they just have the transcripts that you can read.
No, there's like a different URL. Like you can go to the URL
really?
and it like it has an experience.
And
maybe
so you can actually,
it's not
interact.
up anymore. But yeah, you can interact with it.
Yeah, but if you look up Halo 3 terminals, you can find what you're looking for and kind of read through these. I definitely encourage you to read through these, kind of figure it out, and try to come to some conclusions yourself, and then we'll kind of see what's going on after that. Mm-hmm. But it
makes me think the fact that the Forerunners have had such a hard time defeating the Flood. It kind of makes me wonder, like, why? Like, what's so special with the Flood? Like, I'm taking these guys out with, like, my AR, no problem, right? But when you're dealing with, like, when they amass so many Flood or so many bodies, and you're dealing with essentially, like, suicide bombers that don't really care if this specific mass survives. All they care about is, like, some of the mass survives so that it can infect somebody else and then take it over. It's just weird to think about how in that scenario, when the other side doesn't really care about the individuals, it's more about the larger, like, I don't know, for lack of better terms, the larger mass, then that's when it could seem like you would be overwhelmed.
Galaxy-wide war of attrition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also, at this point, there are entire solar systems, entire sections of the galaxy that have been run by Flood. Mm-hmm. I mean, throughout the Halo series, we only see very, very small infections. The biggest one we see is High Charity, which is just population of one planet.
Yeah.
This is a galaxy. And of course, when the Flood procure anything from any planet, they can take all of their ships, all of their technology, all of their weapons, all of their know-how, and use that against whoever they're going. In this case, the Forerunners and everything else. So the Forerunners let it go crazy. So just kind of keep that in mind, that the scale that the Forerunners are working on is a galactic-wide scale, not just a planetary or, little ring infections here and there.
Right. David, anything to add before we kind of wrap it or move towards wrapping it up? We still got some community stuff.
No.
Okay.
Pretty much, yeah.
We're looking at this counter, and it's like at over an hour and 20 minutes, so this is definitely... Congratulations if you made it this far. This is our longest episode. All right, let's do some community stuff to wrap it up. I do have a couple corrections, so I'm going to cover those. And if we misspeak or call something wrong or anything, definitely send us your thoughts, because I do want to kind of make sure that we address anything that we covered incorrectly in previous episodes. So I have a couple to cover there. Then we'll get out of here. So let's do community stuff. Or either you got Facebook or Discord up yet?
Yeah, I'm ready with Facebook.
Okay, let's do it.
Facebook, you guys, you let me down. You let me down this time. So I'm just gonna say that now.
You were defending them last time.
Like, Facebook were my peeps. All throughout the series and Missing Debrief, it's been Facebook, me, Krista does Discord, which sucks. But this time,
we have way more fun on Discord.
This time, you guys let me down. Anyway. Colin Perkins created a poll on the 24th of May at 4:07 p.m. Whatever crazy time he lives in. What's the most memorable part of the ARC mission from Halo 3? Open brackets, add options I missed, close brackets. So we got a few. So I'll start from the bottom and kind of work our way up, right? So down the very bottom, we have add options plus. Nobody voted for that. After that, we have the terminals, which was added by Colin. No one voted.
Ooh.
We had the Brute Chieftain 1v1 fight, added by Colin Perkins. No one voted. The art design / skybox by Colin Perkins. No one voted. Colin, as you can see, we have a trend here.
It is hard. Like, if it was like top 3, like some people would have voted for those, but I asked for the best.
The best, okay. Keep going then. The magical materializing warthogs when you move through the tunnel and extend the bridge by James Goodsell. He didn't even vote for that himself. The Gauss Hog, added by Matthew, who voted. So we then have the opening cutscene, which was added by Colin. We had 2 votes for that one. The Scarab fight, also added by Colin, 2 votes. Then we get some interesting numbers. We got the level design. We got 4 or 5 votes on that one, actually. Whoa. Quite a few. The correct answer is the Forward Unto Dawn dropping tanks. That is an amazing thing. So we had about 8 votes there. But by far and away, the highest ranking one was the quote, "Tank beats everything."
Yes!
Added by James Whitmarsh. So that got the highest vote.
So you could kind of mash those 2 together, but...
No, you can't mash those 2 together. Colin, just 2 separate things.
All right.
Anyway.
Very nice.
There's some few comments there. Lucas says, "I'm torn between the opening cutscene and Tank Beats Everything. Probably my favorite level in the game." Lance Ateria says, "I'm listening to 2 of the Marines talking about if the Dawn has been rated for atmosphere and landing. One of them is saying that it's not sure." Yeah, that was an awesome moment. Timothy Wells says, "Tank beats everything if you're counting the Forward Unto Dawn coming down and landing, because that shit is awesome." Yes, it is. I find out funny that you can get killed by flying crates, says Spencer. That was just pretty cool, like we commented earlier. Brad says, "Tank beats everything. Nothing more satisfying than squeezing a couple of tank rounds past the Scarab's armor and killing it in 2 shots." That's pretty clever. If you manage that, it's pretty good. River says, "The Ark is easily my favorite mission on the entire series. Love the variety it offers: sniping, close quarters combat, taking down AA raids, Scarab, riding around in a plethora of vehicles." Plethora. Good use of the word plethora, River. The river jump pack and stealth brutes also so good. Plus the desert has always been my favorite setting in the stories. So that's just a plus. So there you go.
So like he likes the desert. Like we needed some desert, and we got it.
Yeah.
All right, Krista.
You didn't want the desert,
right.
Colin. You wanted everything.
Colin did not do a poll on Discord.
Well, Discord polls are weird because I would only been like those options, and I wanted people to add their own thoughts.
So he just asked, "What's the most memorable part of the Ark mission from Halo 3? Min says, "The difficult sections stick out to me. The opening where I discovered the brutes above the most basic ranks don't die with 1 headshot with the sniper on heroic. And the vehicle sections where you fight against tanks, turrets, and enemies and heavy weapons. That might be the one time I generally consider turning off a Halo game in anger, because heroic is really rough on this, especially solo." Master G97 says, "The scarab part when you have 4 tanks fighting against the scarab and 1 warthog. And this guy," and he posted a picture of the ODST with the red bands on the side. He says, "Trying to keep the ODSTs alive." Redacted 17 says, "Falling off that bridge before you go into the building. That's always very fun." I think that's the bridge that Guilty Sparks unlocks, that first door for you.
Oh, right. Okay.
You can fall off that bridge, especially if you're in like a ghost or a chopper. It's really easy. Physical Sky 128 says, "The very beginning of the level when you hop off the Pelican and see the Milky Way galaxy in the sky, and clearing those first few outposts. It's a very iconic Halo moment, in my opinion. Easily my favorite part of the level." So he likes the very beginning.
Yeah.
Elson94 says, "Seeing the frigate Forward Unto Dawn land really quickly onto the LZ, and too many times I got splattered by flying, destroyed Wraith debris because of the wind that the frigate generated." And that is all we have for Discord this week.
Nice. Very nice. Thanks for your thoughts. As I mentioned, always send those in. I'll post those on Facebook, depending on when I play the mission. Facebook and Discord, usually a few days before we record. So thanks for everybody's thoughts. Department of Corrections time, and then we will finally, we're gonna get over an hour and 30 minutes. It's gonna be good. Department of Corrections, some feedback. So on the Storm mission, David has a hard time with the broadswords and longswords distinction. They're longswords in Halo 3. They're longswords. So.
To me, it just makes sense in my brain because they're broad. But they're not. I know the broadsword is from Halo 4. Yeah. I just kind of messed it up.
So, yep. So we got the longswords there, and then the other correction is from Floodgate. And I got a little confused when I was talking about the Arbiter, and he was talking to one of the elites, and I think I read through that entire dialogue, but it didn't click with me that so the Flood ship escaped the Delta Halo, kind of that battle, and then what the guy describes it essentially. He says, "We gave chase." So the Shadow of Intent then went after that one ship that poked through, and then that's why they're on Earth now, is because they were chasing after the flood ship. So just to kind of clarify, they didn't just happen up to be upon Earth. They weren't bored and they're like, oh, okay, the flood's dead. We're gonna come to the Earth now. That's how they found Earth specifically, which makes sense. All right, that'll do it for our debriefing of the Ark mission from Halo 3. On the next episode, we'll be covering the Covenant. Send us your thoughts at podcastevolved@gmail.com or drop us a tweet at podcastevolved on Twitter. Until next time, evolved.
Evolved.